even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Bourque
The sickest NHL podcast. Brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. Moving pieces, delivering peace of mind. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. He's Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. We've got a great episode in line for you. Hall of Fame defenseman, former Boston Bruin and Colorado Avalanche, and Stanley Cup champion in 2001, Raymond Bourque, will be joining us shortly, probably in about 10 minutes here on the Eye Test. We'll talk about Ray and what he thinks of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the finals, and a variety of things with number 77. But before we get to that, Pierre, a lot of NHL news today. We're going to obviously tee up Game 3 as well in Edmonton, but a lot of NHL news today, Pierre. Some news out of St. Louis. They tweeted yesterday that they were having a big press conference. So I don't know what to expect there, but what it was is they extended general manager Doug Armstrong until 28-29. And then Steen will become the general manager in 2026, bumping Armstrong upstairs to president of hockey operations. Your thoughts on that, Pierre?
Well, Alex Steen is a really good person. I've known him since he was a kid that was playing World Junior. I thought his father was one of the smartest players that played in the NHL, Thomas, when he played in Winnipeg. I had so much respect for Thomas as a player and as a person. And he raised Alex, and he and his wife raised Alex unbelievably well. Alex was a great draft pick by the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he came up at a time when they utilized numbers, I'm talking about stats, rather than the eye test to judge a player. Had they done the eye test on Alex Steen rather than the numbers test, Alex Steen never would have been traded out of Toronto. Tremendous kid, Stanley Cup champion. I'm so happy for him. I texted him the day that he retired, and he texted me back. I'm saying, Jimmy, within 30 seconds of receiving my text, he texted me back. That speaks to his character.
Yeah.
And what was amazing to me, what I texted him, and I'll share it now, which I didn't want to share publicly before. I texted him about how amazed I was at how he handled when Berube took over as coach. He went from being a first-line player to a fourth-line player. And he played with Barbashev and Oscar Sundqvist. Okay?
Yep. I remember that line well.
They would start those guys a lot.
Yeah.
Alex, I watched I did every single playoff game they played that year. He never complained. He never whined. He didn't carry it to practice. You could never sense it in the dressing room. An amazing guy. So take all the numbers you want in Toronto. They punted him. Okay. They punted him because they didn't score at the level they wanted for a first round pick. They were wrong. They got it wrong, and St. Louis got it right. He's a tremendous person. I hope it works out for him on the managerial side. There's not a lot of experience there, but I hope it works out. But he was a tremendous player, and he was a great asset to the St. Louis Blues.
So congratulations to him. And in Toronto, Pierre, some other management news. Lawrence Gilman, who has been, it's kind of took me by surprise, been there since 2018-19 season, working as an assistant GM and also the senior VP of hockey operations for their AHL affiliate, the Toronto Marlies, has mutually parted ways with the Maple Leafs, according to Pierre LeBrun. Did this take you by surprise as well, Pierre?
No, not at all. Honestly, no.
Whenever Trey Livin put in his own guys.
You get a new general manager, you get a year, you got contract time. The new GM gets a significant bump up in pay. Their budgets, even though it is Toronto, they're still budgets. They've got a massive scouting staff. It's close to 60 people when you count the analytics people. It's massive. The undertaking that Toronto Maple Leafs have put forth financially to try to make the best team they can make. But no, it doesn't surprise me. Lawrence is a good man. I've known Lawrence since he was a worker in Winnipeg. His father-in-law was the former owner of the Winnipeg Jets, and then they were sold to Arizona and actually moved to Arizona and then eventually sold. And Lawrence eventually made his way from Arizona after moving from Winnipeg to Vancouver, and then obviously to Toronto afterwards. But I like Lawrence a lot. He's really smart. He understands the salary cap extremely well.
Yeah,
he would be an asset for a lot of teams on the cap side. He really gets the cap. So I think that, unfortunately for him, this is what happens when new people come in. Keith Pelly's there now, is CEO of all of MLSE. I don't know how much say Shanahan has anymore. I don't know. I just don't know how much Brendan has to say.
Mm-hmm.
And Trey Living should be allowed to hire his own staff, and I think that's what he's going to do.
And then finally, the Rangers have extended Kakko to a 1-year extension, Pierre. This is a guy that's been heavily mentioned in trade rumors dating back to the trade deadline. And then again, as their season ended, as we were just discussing off air, this won't necessarily stop those rumors, but what it does is it locks him in and makes him a little more attractive to any interested teams.
Yeah,
correct?
they're 100%. And great call by you, Jimmy. It's a fixed cost. You understand what the cost is. So if the player delivers, that's great. If he doesn't deliver, you're not really in love with him anyways.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one thing I told you a long time ago? Never fall in love with racehorses and hockey players.
There you go.
And I won't tell you the whole reason why.
Yeah, I know.
I told you.
All right. Well, speaking of racing and betting, I want to mention our new sponsor again. We were excited to welcome them on yesterday, and that is Betway, the leading global online betting and gaming brand that offers you a leading betting experience. Go to betway.com or scan the QR code right in front of you there on the screen if you're watching and join the action. You must be 18 plus and always play responsibly. We will get to my picks. I've got multiple picks for game 3 tonight between
today too.
You do, and we're going to get to that, to Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers, a maybe tired Florida Panthers team after their planes, trains, and automobiles experience yesterday, getting up to Edmonton. But we'll tee up that later on. We'll talk about that. We're going to have Ray Bourque come on here, and before we have him come on, you got to coach against him, but you've also got to broadcast some of his games. When I say when I say his name, Raymond Bourque, what comes to your mind immediately?
Champion, winner. I think they're two similar words.
Mm-hmm.
Determined. I can think of a lot of different words.
Oh, yeah.
Skilled. I know I told you this before, and I mean this sincerely. In his vintage era, there were a bunch of defensemen that were really good. There were very few that could log the minutes that Raymond could log and do the things that Raymond could do. And every night, there were basically no rules back in those days. And people would attack Raymond physically. Mm-hmm. And to see how he could withstand that over the course of 82 games and then in the playoffs, depending how far the Bruins went, I found that unbelievable. Yep. I found it just amazing. I really did.
So all those words definitely come to my mind, but also a vision comes to my mind, Pierre. 2 of them. One would be, I'm at the Boston Garden with my grandfather in his season tickets, Loge 7, the old Garden, and they're playing the Hartford Whalers in Game 7. And nobody knows if he's going to play. They kind of made it seem like he wasn't. And, it's not looking good for the Bruins in that series. In 1990, I don't know if you remember that first-round series, Whalers should come back, forced to Game 7. And we're just sitting there and you're wondering, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And then all of a sudden, he comes out of that entranceway for warm-ups. And and it's already packed in there, and the place just erupts. And right there, we just look at each other, my grandfather, and Bruins are going to win. There's no doubt in our mind at that point. I mean, they were sure if we had Betway then, I would have been dialing in on my phone if I had cell phones and online gambling, and I would have been betting the house on the Boston Bruins in that one. And the other one, Pierre, to me, of course, is when he won the Stanley Cup, and just I was actually in Denver. I had gone out there with the thought that I might have some tickets. I just flew out there, got a flight, flew out the next day. My buddy Brian Davis lived out there from college, and the tickets fell through. I wound up watching at this place called Champions in Aurora, Colorado, right next to Denver. And I had my old Bourque jersey on, and it was awesome. Tons of Bruins fans in there because there's so many transplants in Denver, but it was one of those moments, and just seeing the look on his face after everything he had been through to get to that point was so amazing. Of course, we'll talk with him about that when we get him on. But, a lot of people still, even when I tweeted about it today, Pierre, just that he was coming on and, still some Bruins fans bitter. And I'm like, what are you bitter about? What? I mean, it's not his fault that they couldn't win the cup here. I'm not going to get into things.
Hey,
I'm going to people upstairs.
Jimmy, this is where I'm taking control of editorial content. Okay.
Yes, do it.
We're not talking about those people.
Yeah. All right.
Be mad at me if you want to. Those people. Be mad at Raymond. No, that's grossly unfair. I was part of a team that drew up 2 game plans to beat him and coached against him.
Yep.
That had nothing to do with Raymond not being good. Okay.
No.
Had 0 to do with Raymond not being good. Raymond was unbelievable. The stuff that we did to him as a team was insane.
Yeah.
You would never have got away with that today.
And he kept ticking.
Yes, I did.
He kept ticking. Yeah. You said today.
There's one hit in 92. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure you can go Google it.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Airy hit him so hard from behind. That might have been a 15-game suspension today. He didn't get a minor penalty.
Wow.
Okay, I'm just telling you. So, I'm so tired of people that want to. This is a treasure. This is an athletic treasure.
Yeah.
That the Boston Bruins should just relish all their fans. I will tell you this. I was coaching at Babson College. I was living in a house in Needham with 2 other people that worked at the college. One was an assistant athletic director. One was the equipment manager. And we split the rent, the 3 of us, and it was awesome. It was tremendous. I was just starting out my coaching career, and I'll never forget the night they retired Phil Esposito's number 7.
Oh, yeah.
And Raymond came out and flipped the jersey and went from 7 to 77.
Yeah.
And I don't know how people have really met Phil Esposito or know him.
Yep.
He's an amazingly proud person, and he's very confident in himself, as he should be.
Yeah.
That was probably the most I've ever seen Phil emotional about, wow, you really did that for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was an amazing thing. And
that was exactly the look. I remember.
That was amazing. It was amazing.
I was there. I was at that too. And I just remembered. I was like, you could kind of tell. I was looking over at the bench, and Phil's out there with Bob Wilson, the former play-by-play man, on the radio for the Bruins. And I'm looking, and it looked like they were kind of, Bourque was talking to somebody by the bench, and it looked like they were kind of planning something. And I said, something's up. And then sure enough, he comes out and he does that. And the roof almost fell off. I mean, that was, what a moment. What a moment that was.
The old building too, where it was really loud.
Oh, yeah.
This is for the younger folks that are watching this. I know you think it's really loud in TD Bank. No, I get it. I get it. And it is loud. It's not as loud as the other place.
No.
It's not as loud. I'm just telling you.
I mean,
everybody in Chicago thinks United Center is really loud. It's not as loud as the other place.
No.
I coached in the Stanley Cup Final in the other place. I broadcast 3 Stanley Cup Finals in the new place. It's not as loud. I'm just telling you.
And what about the Forum to the Bell Center?
The only difference on that is about 4,000 seats, maybe 5,000. So that makes a bit of a difference. But I'd say per capita, if we were going per capita noise, the Forum still wins. But if you did overall, the Bell Center would win that one.
Well, you know what I love about the Bell Center, Pierre, and not enough arenas did it. I think the problem, as these new arenas started to go up in the 90s into the 2000s and still going up here and there, they built the lower bowl goes too straight out. You know what I mean? Like it's too flat. So the noise doesn't travel. The Bell Center, everything's just so steep. It's like boom, and that noise comes right down to the ice. And I love how
that's such a good point by you, Jimmy. And there's 2 arenas in the league that are like that. One is in Minnesota.
Okay.
They've got 9,000 lower bowl seats, so it's really steep. And the other one is Montreal. Which
I haven't been to XL Center yet.
Yeah, that's okay, but so there are 2 in the league that are like that. New Jersey's closer just because their footprint to build where they built in New Jersey. But it's not as tight. But those are the 2, Montreal and Minnesota. You're right about that. That's a really good point. Really good point.
That was the greatest thing about those old barns. I mean, whether it was, the Odd in Buffalo or the Garden or the Forum or Chicago Stadium or, Maple Leaf Gardens. Did you ever go there, Pierre?
I told you the story in Boston. I'm coaching Hartford and Raymond's playing for Boston.
Oh, wow.
And we beat them. And all of a sudden, somebody from just above me dropped a piece of metal. And it went down my back. And I went to our trainer, Bud Gavea, and I'm the head coach. I said, Bud, there's something like in my back. It's like itching me or burning me or something. I'm going like this. I can't.
Yeah.
I said, can you get it out? He says, well, did you put a microphone on it? I said, no, I got nothing back there.
Uh-huh.
So he puts his hand underneath my jacket and feels on my shirt. He goes, there's a bump. There's something back there. It was a coin. Somebody had heated up a coin and dropped it from the deck just above, and it had gone down my shirt. Like it was a perfect shot. I give the guy, whoever did it, I give him full credit. But I said, I felt like I was getting stung by a bee. It was a heated up coin.
Because they were just right on top of you, man.
Right on top. Right in Boston, right on top.
I remember Knuckles and Island getting in the big brawl with, I don't know if it was Kenny Linsman or somebody that he kind of stuck, and it was like right in the entrance there. Do you remember that?
Oh, do I ever?
Yeah.
So
And
when the 92
cops are coming in.
Yeah, Raymond
Fans were trying to jump over.
Yeah, Chris was involved in I want to say 91 or 92 with Boston, and so we played them, at least once, probably twice.
Yeah.
And yeah, Christopher could start trouble. I'll tell you one thing: you'd want him on your team, not on the other team. You want him on your team.
Here. Well, as we wait for Raymond Bourque here, just quickly, Game 3 tonight, Pierre. It's looking like actually Kane might not play. Is what it sounds like.
To your credit, you called it yesterday when you were talking to Edmonton Jack.
Yep.
Okay, so Edmonton Jack said, "I don't think Kane's playing," and you nailed that. So you deserve credit on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think he is playing.
Yeah, and just what is?
I go 11-7. I wouldn't mess around. I go 11-7. So what? One forward chart, and you remember Nurse is hurt.
Yep.
So Nurse, I go 11-7. That's right.
You know what? The end is the seventh, eh?
Yeah, CC goes in, but maybe he goes in at 6. But I would go 11-7.
All right.
That's what I do. I don't. If Raymond comes on, we'll talk about it with Raymond about the difference between, because Raymond played every other shift.
Yeah,
there is a difference for those guys that are big minute players about getting in and out of rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference. I remember Mario one time. Mario was really upset. We weren't getting him on the ice. Our entire staff, wasn't Scotty or Bob, it was the whole staff. For whatever reason, wasn't getting on the ice enough. And I remember him being upset. I got to get into the feel of the game. Like, you know what? You're right. I agree with you.
Mm.
We made that mistake. We never made the mistake again.
So we talked yesterday about tone setting, Pierre, and how important the first 10 minutes are really going to be for the Edmonton Oilers, especially utilizing what surely is going to be a rocking joint there at Rexall Place. But what if you're the Florida Panthers? You're the road team going into this. How do you tone set as the visitor?
Can I say stuff without getting in trouble?
There's no judgment here, my friend.
Okay. Physicality dominates the first 5 minutes of the game.
Okay.
Puck management and physicality. So we don't turn pucks over inside our own zone. We chip them out in the neutral zone.
Mm-hmm.
We put pucks into areas on the forecheck where we're going to take 2 guys and put them in there. So short side shoot-ins, we're putting positional shoot-ins, short side shoot-ins, and we're pulverizing people at the point of attack. That's what we're doing. Okay. So that's physicality. That's how you take the crowd out of it if you're the visiting.
And I apologize. I'm just getting a text from Bourque here. He's having trouble getting in, guys. I'm going to send you his number to our production crew. I'll let them know one right now as we talk. The other thing, too, like we mentioned, Pierre, again, I don't want to harp on it too much, and I don't know what their sleep was last night and how it's affected them, but does that, you talked about rhythm and getting out of, your routine and all that.
Yep.
When you have travel issues like that, can that affect the routine and the rhythm?
Yeah, 100%. Sleep pattern for sure. Eating pattern for sure. Day of the game skate for sure. I don't know whether you even skated today. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Uh-huh.
And I was at my rink working with our players. I wasn't working with their players. So I don't know. But it does. Yeah, it can have an effect. The biggest thing for those guys, you got to get a start. I'm talking about Florida. You got to get a start.
Yep. Who's a guy, Pierre, on each – well, I'll say Edmonton right now because they need these guys to step up more than maybe Florida does at this point. an unsung hero type that you'd be looking for right now? Maybe kind of a dark horse player that could jump up and, really help provide that depth that they haven't necessarily had in the first 2 games.
For Edmo?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dylan Holloway.
Ah, nice call.
He's got to. He's the one guy that can really make a difference.
Okay, one sec, guys. I apologize. I'm just trying to coordinate here to help Ray get on with us. 1 second. Okay.
That's what I would say. Dylan Holloway's a guy that I think can make a difference.
Okay. Gotta love the fun life of podcasting here.
I think it's great, and good for you for being able to reach out to Raymond.
Yeah, we do it. We multitask here, and we've got a great production crew in Montreal who always solves these problems. They're the best.
It's impressive. Good job.
Yeah. So, all right. So there we go. I mean, game 3, look, my take right now with this series, I think you're right. You mentioned the physicality. You mentioned how Florida's probably going to come out and try and establish that again. I'm worried for Edmonton with Kane out. Can they do that? And with Nurse hurting, can they do that? I don't know if Edmonton, I mean, Holloway would be a guy that you'd need to do that, but I just don't know if they have the guns to do it, Pierre.
We're going to find out tonight. I don't know either. I don't think they know. They haven't been to the final, Jimmy, in a long time. I mean, think about it, 2006. So I don't think they have any guys that really do understand. Outside of Corey Perry, they really don't.
Uh-huh.
Matthias Ekholm went to the final too in Nashville. That's unfair of me to say that, but they don't have a lot of guys who've been in the final. They don't really know. They don't know what it takes.
Okay, Ray's. I think we almost got him, guys. Production crew, I'm letting you know he's signing in, I think, right now. Let's see. Apologies to our listeners and viewers.
As Scotty Bowman used to say about star players, worth the wait.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Number 77 is worth the wait. Okay. Sending this to him right now, to his wife's email. And by the way, we're talking about, go ahead, Pierre.
I was just saying, Christiane, she's the best hockey mom going. There you go.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna go to that. I was literally, we don't script this stuff, but I literally was just gonna say that she's a heck of a hockey mom and a hockey wife, for sure. And for people that don't know out there, for our listeners maybe not from Boston, Raymond Bourque owns a very, very good Italian restaurant in the north end of Boston, and Pierre McGuire and I have both been there and enjoyed the meals there. Pierre, what's your favorite meal on the menu there?
I like chicken parmesan there.
Okay. He's got a good one?
Yeah, it is. He's also got 2 boys that were unbelievably successful in hockey, Ryan and Christopher. And Ryan just got named as coach at Cushing Academy as a head coach, which they're both alums of Cushing, which is out in Leominster, Mass. So I'm really happy to hear that. I was, I've heard that being around the rinks that Ryan was going there. He was actually named in April, which is tremendous. And Christopher played in the Olympics and had a real good tour of duty all around the world. So in hockey, so his boys have been amazingly successful.
Yeah, I think Chris, I'm not sure for who, because I'm friends with him on LinkedIn, and I got to check it out because I got an announcement. You get these announcements when people start new jobs, and it said pro scout.
He scouted for
Toronto. And so we said, okay. So Chris, I remember he had a brief stint in the Bruins organization, and he was I like talking to him, like just off the record, just shooting the breeze with him, talking hockey. And you obviously he probably learned so much from watching his dad and growing up in a hockey family, but he thought the game well. That's the one thing I noticed about the way he would talk it. You could see how cerebral he was about the game. And, I think that comes from his dad.
Ryan are both really smart hockey guys. Ryan was part of the 2010 World Junior team that won the gold in Saskatoon, which was an amazing accomplishment when you consider it was played in overtime at the gold medal game. And it was John Carlson who scored the game-winning goal. But Raymond was there with Christiane. It was pretty cool. They were both there at that in Saskatoon. When you consider Raymond represented Canada, his kids are playing for the United States.
I know. And I remember I think it was Ryan was on the ice when he got the cup in Colorado, and he's just bawling. He couldn't believe it. He's just sitting there, and I think it was Joe Sakic came over and hugged him. It was a great moment to watch there. All right, we're getting this set up here. I apologize, guys.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah. Okay. He just sent me the email again. Let's do this. And what do we got here? There we go. Okay. He should be getting it shortly. All right. Let's get back to this game, though. Pierre, another guy we spoke about yesterday was Zach Hyman. That's a guy I think needs to somehow break free in front of the net.
Yeah, no, you can talk. I mean, I know that Jack's talked about it out there in Edmonton too. You can talk about it all you want. The truth is that the bigger players need to step up, and Zach's one of them. Obviously, Connor's one of them. Drysdale is one of them. Bouchard is one of them. So they got guys that need to step up. It's not just on Zach Hyman. And here's what happens in the final. And I learned this a long time ago. You get there and you're really hot and bothered and you're really excited about being there.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get in, if you don't stabilize it early, it slips away from you really fast.
Yeah.
When it slips away from you, Jimmy, you kind of lose a little of your identity.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of Florida last year.
Yeah.
They got run right out of the final. They did. They got run right out of the final. And I'm going to tell you right now, this isn't brain surgery. If Edmonton doesn't show up here the first 10 minutes tonight, they're going to have a real hard time. They're going to have a really, really, really hard time.
Yeah, that's a great point by you. I heard somebody else talking about this too, where it might have even been, I think it was Ray Farrell maybe. He said Edmonton is Florida last year. It's a great parallel. It really is. Like first time there and the sort of the awe of being there. And you're right, Pierre. You can kind of see. They came out. I mean, they had a great game one as we established the other day, but it was you could see as game two went on, they were chasing and they weren't in their element. They weren't, as you said, they didn't have their identity. So they were chasing over there. All right. Do we have Ray? Not yet. Oh, well, let's keep talking. While we're waiting, we might as well do the picks, Pierre, because I know you need a hard out at 5 p.m. Yep. So let's do the Betway pick. And I've got multiple picks. Let's pull that up right now, guys, if we can.
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by Betway.
All right, Pierre, I'm going to let you go because you got one pick and I've got four. So go ahead.
I got one pick. I can't believe this, but Cole Yzerman will be a top 10 pick in the NHL draft.
All right. Now, I want to let everybody know when you go to Betway right now and any gambling site right now, he is not available you can't even get past top 5 projected picks right now. But as you get closer, I'm guessing within a week of the draft. So the draft is 2 weeks from tomorrow. So look at maybe a week from today, a week from tomorrow. You'll see they're going to add like 30 more players there and you'll have all these odds on where they will go and who will pick them and stuff like that. So they'll have all that available there, but that's just common because basically when you're far out of a draft here, gambling sites are only focusing on the popular names, the in vogue picks, so to speak. So, but I think that's a great pick. And I think you're going to get great value on that because, I know how in love you are with him and I'm with you too. The more you've talked about him, the more I've researched him and the more I think I agree with you that he's going to go top 10, but everyone else isn't on board with that yet. So he's one of those guys that if you go there, you might be able to bet $100 and win $3,000 because they'll just have such great value. So let me tell you this, though. This is what I got going on tonight, guys. I got a couple. One thing I want your thoughts on this, Pierre.
How'd you do last night in the basketball?
Well, that's right. That's right. I think the mush is done. The curse of Murph is over. The Boston Celtics, and I'll tell you, let's just tell this story. We were on and look, I think we've got Ray now.
Don't go too long on your story.
Yeah, well, quickly, I text the guys and I say, hey, Murph's got one right finally. And then the Mavs went on a 17-2 run and almost tied it, but then Doncic fouled out. I ended up winning. So the curse of the Murph is over. I'll get to my picks. Do we have Ray there, guys? No. Yes, we do. We'll go right to him right now. Ray, we got you. No volume. You can't hear him.
We'll get there.
You'll fix. All right, so let's do these quickly. Connor McDavid, Pierre, you can pick whether he's going to have over or under 3.5 shots on goal. Oh, we got him.
Okay. Hey, guys. Sorry about that.
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry. The beauty of technology, huh?
Yeah, I'm a dinosaur, and thank God for my wife.
How we doing? What's Ray Bourque doing these days?
Well, just played some golf today.
Okay.
But, I've been traveling a little bit lately. Played some Hockey Heroes, and I in Saskatoon last weekend. A couple of weeks ago, did something for Gordie Howe Cares for Alzheimer's that they raised $2 million in Calgary. Wow. Been doing some different things, but mostly golf and doing some things for our family foundation and running a couple of restaurants and spending some time in Florida and, winter in Florida, summers in Boston, and enjoying the grandkids. We've got 6 of those now. So family and just it's life is great. No complaints here.
Awesome.
And watching some hockey.
Speaking of watching hockey, Edmonton, Florida, who's a better team, Raymond?
Well, you know what? Going to this series, I thought Florida would be all business, being there for the second year in a row, and for the first time last year they were kind of banged up, but still, I think when you get there for the first time, you're so excited, so happy, and I think just that little extra edge that you need, I think shows up first time around. And I thought Florida was going to be very tough. They were tough against everybody, but you could tell after they won the conference finals that they were all business. And I was really happy to see Edmonton getting there, McDavid, the best player in the league, and so exciting to watch. I was really impressed with Edmonton, how they came out in the first game, and really, goalie Bob kind of won that game for Florida. But you just knew that Florida is just going to keep getting better and better, and that's kind of their makeup. I thought I think Florida's going to win the cup this year. I don't think it's, I think Edmonton's going to really be pushing hard tonight. I still see the series, going 6. I don't think it's over. I mean, obviously tonight's the big game, but I could see Edmonton winning this game tonight.
Ray, when you were playing and you faced a forecheck like that, that's their bread and butter, the Florida Panthers, and they're coming in so hard like that. What was the plan to kind of get around that as a defenseman?
Well, you want to try to get to the puck first, and I mean, it's tough. Like I watch, and Ray Ferraro between the boards said something that was so good. He says playing against Florida, it's like playing against seven players out there. They always seem to have 2 or 3 guys right there in layers, and they make it so tough for you. So for defensemen going back, to get to the puck first and have a little peek or a little look, to find that first pass and the best pass to make, and to help your forwards get out of the zone is really tough on those guys. So back in the day, we'd beg our forwards to just step in front of people and give us a second or give us time. Back then, there's a lot more interference that was going on. Thank God. I say it would have been so much fun playing in this game, in today's game offensively, but defensively going back for pucks, it's so much harder because your forwards really can't help you much. I mean, they could get in lanes and try to get in the way, but you can't do it like we used to. So it makes it a lot tougher for D going back for pucks.
Raymond, one of my old players, Paul Coffey, one of your old teammates from Canada Cup, is coaching the defense in Edmonton. He had to deal with the Darnell Nurse situation in the last round. What would Raymond Bourque have said to Darnell Nurse after he incurred all the slings and arrows in Edmonton from the media?
Keep your head up. You're an important player for us. I mean, I think he gets all that abuse. I mean, the guy's making $9 million, right? Are you going to fault him for accepting to sign a
Thank
contract for $9
Thank
million?
you.
I
Oh,
mean, come
thank
on.
you. Yeah.
Would he be hearing that if he was making $4 or $5 million?
Nope.
Right? He wouldn't be hearing a thing. So I would just keep encouraging him that he's an important part of our team, and we're not going to win without him. And the noise gets loud sometimes, and as a professional athlete, you've got to find ways to deal with that. And I just encourage him and be on his side and just keep supporting him because he's a good player, he's a solid player, and we need him. So that's what I would keep whispering in his ear and keep encouraging him to keep your head up and let's go, man.
Ray, I'm gonna switch gears a bit here and switch over to the Boston Bruins, a team obviously you're familiar with, and a guy who throughout this past playoff took a few slings and arrows himself, but I think it's because of his contract and because of the expectations, and that's Charlie McAvoy. And I'm just wondering your take on Charlie, the defenseman he is, the progress he's made, and what you think he has yet to come.
I think the ceiling is unlimited for him, and that's part of the problem. He's so talented and in all areas. Charlie, sometimes I think it's just he tries to do too much and he cares so much, and sometimes less would be more. I just think at times he needs to take charge in a power play. You got Pasternak and Marshy, and you got these guys that I think you just defer to too much. I would like him just to take charge a little more on the power play and establish that shot that he has. That's a great one. But I would take him on my team any day.
Yeah.
He's an amazing talent. He's a great kid, and he works hard and he cares. So, he, again, playing that position now is not easy, and they had to go through Florida and another team that just makes it really hard on you as defenseman and doesn't give you much time and much space. So I'm not worried about Charlie. This kid just keeps getting better and better, and I'm excited about the Bruins going forward. They finally got some money going forward. I think they need to improve. They need to sign some people. I think they will. Depth-wise, I think, it was tough for them this year, to kind of get through Florida. They gave it a good run, but I really see them next year being a better team that they've been. Obviously losing Bourque and the Krejci, those are two big parts, really hard to replace. But I think they overachieved during the regular season. I think I saw them kind of like maybe fighting for a playoff spot or getting in there, but not fighting for the President's Trophy like they were pretty much all year. So credit to those guys, coaching staff and management to get some character guys in there, and I'm kind of excited about what's coming for them next year.
Raymond, are you excited to go watch Cushing Academy play where Ryan's going to be the new head coach?
Very excited. We're all very happy. Ryan's been coaching now 4 years. He was in the ECHL with Charleston, the Stingrays there for a couple of years. And last year he had an amazing experience with the under-18s with the National Development Program. So at Cushing, where both my sons attended for 2 and 3 years. So to have an alum like Ryan, I think everybody's very excited about him going back there, especially our family, having him back in the area with his wife and his 2 kids. It's going to be fun.
Hey, Jimmy, before you get going, I want to ask Raymond this because in 2010, I'll never forget Raymond and Christian being at the gold medal game in Saskatoon. Ryan's part of that team, and it's a John Carlson goal and goal. You're a Canadian, a proud Canadian. Your son's playing for the U.S. You're watching that game in Saskatoon. When John Carlson scores a golden goal for the U.S., Ryan's part of the team. What are you feeling?
I feel excitement. I feel so proud of my son and him experiencing winning a gold medal at the World Juniors. And both my sons, they did everything. They grew up in Boston. They don't know anything different. Obviously, when I was playing for Canada, they were cheering for me, and knowing what I was playing for. And it's the same thing for them. There's never a question about who they're going to play for if they could play at that level. So you just support. As a parent, you're just proud, happy, and support, and ecstatic when they're able to achieve things like he did in Saskatoon. And I was just in Saskatoon last weekend, and a lot of talk was about that that World Juniors where Ryan was part of that team. So, it was kind of cool knowing that he was one of the, not that many U.S. teams had won the gold medal in the World Juniors, and he was part of one of the teams that was able to do it. So it was really cool. The experience was awesome. Obviously, in Canada, it makes it a little weird sometimes walking around, and but people were very respectful. And Vancouver 1 year with Chris was tough.
Well, that was really tough.
A little different out there, eh?
I don't care who they were playing against. Every time somebody would touch the puck for the U.S., so that was a tough one. But North Dakota, Chris played in, then Vancouver, and Ryan played in Saskatoon and Buffalo. So Ryan was lucky enough to play to win gold and then bronze in Buffalo. So he had an amazing experience with the national team there. So it's all fun, all good. It's blood is thicker than water, and we just follow the kids right wherever they end up, and we support.
Yeah, Jimmy, I just wanted, before you go, just to build off Raymond's point, the 05 World Juniors in Grand Forks, North Dakota, is 50 below zero there almost every day. I'm not kidding you. And next year it was in Vancouver, as Raymond said, in 06. The stick boy for the 05 World Junior team for Canada was Jonathan Taves. The next year in Vancouver, he's wearing number 19, looking like Brian Trottier.
Chris played against Taves in the Nationals and Marquette when he played for Shattuck, and the Junior Bruins ended up winning that.
There you go, little payback.
Chris had a good tournament, and Washington ended up picking him in the second round because of that, I think.
Yeah, well, Ray, before we let you go, I want to play what was obviously a great moment for you and your family here, and I just want to have you look back because we came up on the 23rd anniversary last week. All right, let's go to the video.
Sakic will come out to receive it as captain. The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Bourque!
What are you thinking in that moment when Sakic handed it to you?
I thought that was Joe's best assist all year. But Joe was such a classy guy, and all he wanted to talk about after Game 6 was, how are we going to do the cup thing? And I'm like, Joe, let's just win the game, and we'll have plenty of time. But Joe was amazing. He just wanted me to be right next to him, and Gary Thorne's best call ever, I think.
Yeah,
it was an amazing, just a relief. Putting that thing over my head, and just an amazing feeling that I wish every single hockey player could live.
Yeah, it's funny, Rick. I remember you saying a couple times after you brought the cup back to Boston and City Hall there, and you said, "Hey, I started the championship run in Boston." I was thinking of that last night watching Brady at his retirement.
Well, I ended up going to the Super Bowl that year. We were watching the Snow Bowl against Oakland, and Christopher was turning 16 just a few days after that, and said, "The page win, Dad, can we go to the Super Bowl?" And I said, "Maybe, let's check it out." And we ended up going to the Super Bowl. So I thought, bringing the cup back to Boston, and then after that, the Patriots just go on this amazing run, and
the Red Sox,
the Celtics win, the Bruins win, and it was just like two decades of crazy winning for New England fans here.
Jimmy, there were a lot of people involved in Raymond going to Colorado, but one of the premier guys was Pierre Lacroix. And I know Raymond and Pierre had a tremendous relationship, obviously, before Pierre passed away. And one of the things I want to say, we don't rehearse this show, Raymond, And I just want to say, I couldn't believe the way you were at the dinner at the Hall of Fame for Pierre Lacroix. That was a phenomenal thing. Been in the league like you a long time. That was one of the most special nights. That was really special.
It was, I mean, the relationship we had with Pierre and Coco was a special one and still is to this day. I just get emotional thinking about Pierre right now because we saw him like just a few weeks before he passed, and we got to have Max, his grandson, stay with us for 6 months when he was going to Governor's Academy because it was COVID and the school couldn't have any students boarding. So Pierre called me and asked if we knew anybody that would take Max in, and I said yes. We'll take him in, and it was an amazing experience. He's an amazing kid, and now he's going to BU. So they're all part of the family. So they're a special part of our experience. And yes, he got me to Colorado, but to get to know them even more and on a personal base was amazing. So I'm so happy that I got to go there and experience what I did.
I heard Max hit it out of the park with his speech too, eh?
Oh my God, that kid!
Yeah,
he's going to be president of the U.S. if he wants someday.
Awesome. Listen, Ray, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time. Enjoy the rest of the Stanley Cup Final and your summer, and we'll see you around. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right.
Keep up the good
Raymond
work.
Bourque joining us here on the eye test. There we go. That's good.
Well, you should have heard. He talked about Max speaking. I was at that dinner.
Ray gave a hell of one too, eh?
Raymond was special that night.
You could see how much he meant to him there, Pierre.
Patrick Roy was special. Raymond was special. Michel Goulet was special. That's one of those nights, Jimmy, you get a chance to do some things in the league. That's one I'll never forget that night.
Yeah.
The night before Pierre got inducted into the Hall of Fame, I'll never forget that night. Raymond was a huge part of it. Really special.
Good stuff. Yeah, you can tell how much he appreciated all he did for Ray as well. All right, we got to go. I'm going to give you my picks quick. We're going to run through them. You ready? Let's pull the pick thing up again here. Come on.
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by Betway.
As I said, I like Connor McDavid over 3.5 shots. I don't think that's hard for Connor McDavid to get to. Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, and Carter Verhaeghe to all score goals tonight. And then I like the Oilers on the puck line in the first period. I think they come out flying. They're up by 1 after the first period. After that, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't tell you because this Florida team, as Ray discussed there, we discussed, they're relentless. You can take a lead on them. That doesn't mean that lead stays. We'll see what happens. All right, let's go to our other sponsor here, TCS. Before we take your questions, quick. TCS, unlock the full potential of your shipping operation with TCS Customs and Logistics. From around the corner to around the world, flatbeds to air freight, customs clearance to drawback consulting. TCS is a one-stop shop for all things transport, moving pieces and delivering a peace of mind. For a no-obligation customs or freight quote, contact sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. Again, that is sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. We got time for a few questions here because we got to have a hard out in 7 minutes, but let's rock and roll. All right, Max Sar says, do you see Doc as a safe bet as a second-line center, or should the Habs play it safe and draft one of the top centers in this draft?
Well, I would. I see Doc as a legit second-line center, but I also would draft a forward. I'd prefer to have a scoring forward, but if you wanted to take a guy you perceived as a second center, that's fine too. But I do see, as long as he stays healthy, Kirby Doc's a real good second-line center.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Exactly. The health is the one thing where I would continue to build a little depth behind him. All right, let's go. Next question. Ron LaRoque. I understand Florida shutting down lanes, but is McDavid controlling play too much? I mean, he can't do it all. That's a great question, Pierre.
You can't do it all, no. But one of the things I'd say is they got to get more traffic. Mm-hmm. So you can talk about all the other stuff, but they're not getting people to the net. You got to get more people to the net.
I've noticed a little, Pierre, and maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but it almost seemed to me like Florida's just saying, you know what? He's going to do his thing. We'll worry about everyone else. And that's paid off.
What they're working to do is they're flushing to the outside.
Exactly.
So they're just flushing it. And so everybody knows, even if they create a mismatch, talking about Edmonton, the Florida guys know, just don't overcommit. Just flush the speed to the outside. take away inside lanes. And it's working so far. We'll see whether it can work tonight in Edmonton, where I do think they'll be a little bit better as a team.
Okay, next question. Kook69, what are your thoughts on Washington buying Cap Friendly and that it will no longer be available soon? Pierre?
Well, I give a lot of credit to Washington. A lot of people are ripping them apart. I think it's smart.
Well, they're just upset.
It's an amazing entity. I don't blame Washington at all. It's all fair game. It's a capitalist country. It's a capitalist society. So they went out and bought something that's going to help them. I give them full credit. They paid for it. They didn't get it for free. They didn't steal it. They bought it. And I like the way they presented it to their fan base. Now, are there going to be other entities that can go in and replace Cap Friendly? Probably there will be. Puckpedia might be one of them. I told you yesterday about Megan Chayka. She says, maybe I should start a site. And I can tell you right now, I work with Megan. She'd be really good at that. I think it's great to watch. Good for them. That's smart business. They saw something they liked and they bought it.
And I'll connect this to one of the topics we discussed off the top of the show too, Pierre, with Lawrence Gilman. You said he's a great capologist. I heard yesterday Elliot Friedman talking about the fact that only 8 teams, I believe, maybe 9, had a site or a system set up internally like Cap Friendly. But the rest of these teams right now are scrambling. So they're going to need as many cap guys as they can get to bring in. Maybe it's a good time for Gilman to become a free agent.
It is, but it's not that difficult in enterprise.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
Just so some people are overhyping it because they're trying to create marketplace. It's not difficult in enterprise.
Gotcha. Well, it's difficult for me because I stink at numbers. Matthew Cesar, Pierre, who would be your top 3 goalies to represent Canada at next year's tournament?
That's such a good question. If I had the answer to that, I'd be probably the GM of the team. It's not going to be easy. I couldn't tell you. Oh. I do not honestly know.
Yeah.
It's really, this is the big, defensively, they're going to be elite. Offensively, they're going to be elite. Role playing wise, they're going to be elite. They're going to be the best team. The only place they're not going to be the best team, honestly, it's going to be in goal.
Which is weird, right? For so many years, they were such a goalie factory.
Really weird.
All right. Next.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Matthew Gervais. I feel the Panthers don't get enough credit for their dominance of the board wall game. Just how important is it that aspect of the game for success, considering good teams clog the middle so well? Well, we've been saying that all along, Matt.
Yeah, board plays a huge part of playoff hockey. It's where scouts got it wrong for a long time. They overhyped toe draggers and slick skill and not enough about board play and smash mouth component. We created the term ground and pound for a reason. It's a football term that I brought to hockey. So no, it doesn't surprise me at all. And that's what you have to be. And that's where the numbers people get it wrong. And that's where the eye test people get it right.
All right. Next question. Mike, would you guys agree that Laine wouldn't be a fit salary-wise in Montreal? I don't see them paying 4 forwards around $8 million to go along with Gallagher and Anderson.
Go ahead, Jimmy. I'll take
it. I think it. So totally agree with what you're saying there, but I think if they're able to make moves before that to lead to that, to enable that, I do think they'd be interested. But yeah, it's right now, it's not a fit.
I don't see it being a fit.
Yeah. All right. Next question. A to Z me. Oilers need a Claude Lemieux type, in my opinion. Who do you guys feel is the NHL equivalent to Claude today, if there is one? I think they're playing him. He's on the other side. Number 19.
Yeah, Kachuk.
Yeah.
He's not as fast as Claude. Claude could really skate. He's powerful. I coached his brother, Jocelyn. And Jocelyn was a good player for our team. He was really good. I don't know if there's a guy in the league that could skate like Claude and do what he did physically and also score huge goals at key times. We had Raymond Bourque on just before. Raymond would have been part of that playing against Claude.
Yeah.
We would have known. I don't know. They're not that that's a hard guy to compare to.
Yeah.
You could ask me about different players, but I think that's a hard one.
He was just such a gamer. All right. That's it for today, folks. Sorry we can't take more. We will take more tomorrow. Don't you worry.
Oh, we have a special time starting tomorrow?
I was just going to say, yep, we are at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So remember that. Not our usual 4 p.m. slot. 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. I want to thank the Hall of Famer Raymond Bourque for joining us. Thank our production crew in Montreal for helping us out with the technical difficulties there, as they always do, and for everything else that they do. And thanks to you, the viewers and listeners, for your wonderful questions. We always appreciate them. He's Pierre McGuire. I'm Jimmy Murphy. This has been another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. Brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. Moving pieces, delivering peace of mind.